At the turn of the 19th century, the Baha'i faith was in its infancy. Baha'u'llah passed away and left the faith under the loving guidance of his son, Abdul-Baha. Many souls were drawn to the beauty of the faith and its message of unity. Through his guidance, numerous inspired believers were encouraged to travel abroad at his behest and take the message of Baha'u'llah to all the corners of the world. Eventually, Abdul-Baha himself resolved that, as soon as he was free to do so, he would undertake a personal mission to the West. Approaching 70 years of age at the time, he was in poor health, having spent nearly a lifetime in exile and imprisonment. Yet, once he was free, he arose with sublime courage, confidence, and resolution. One September afternoon in the year of 1910, Abdul-Baha set sail from Haifa to Egypt. The following year, on the 11th of August, 1911, he embarked on a ship to Marseille, stopping at the French resort Thonon-les-Bains on the shores of Lake Geneva on his way to London. He also briefly visited Switzerland, stopping in Vevey and Geneva for a few days before continuing his journey. Although his stay in Switzerland had been too short, and he had not met many people there, Abdul-Baha stated that he could feel that the Swiss were people of great capabilities, and when the cause reached them, it would find devoted advocates. It wasn't long before his vision came true, and a small band of blessed souls devoted their entire lives to the spreading of the message of Baha'u'llah in Switzerland. After the passing of the Master in 1921, the mantle of responsibility to lead the Baha'i community was passed on to Shoghi Effendi, Abdul-Baha's grandson. On hearing of his appointment as guardian, Shoghi Effendi withdrew to the Bernese Alps, which he loved so much and he called his second home. It was there in the Swiss mountains that he could meditate, gain spiritual energy, and come to terms with the immensity of his responsibilities, a task he was at first reluctant to accept. Upon his return to Haifa, he started to formulate the first of many multi-year plans for the development of the Baha'i faith. His plans included extremely ambitious goals for the expansion and recognition of Baha'i communities and institutions worldwide, particularly the building of spiritual assemblies. In 1953, the Italo-Swiss National Spiritual Assembly was elected. In 1962, the independent Swiss National Spiritual Assembly was formed. Shoghi Effendi admonished that, since the peoples in Switzerland are intensely conservative by nature, steeped in tradition, bound for the most part by the ties of religious orthodoxy, sunk in materialism, and fully content with the standard they have achieved, the development of the cause there will be painfully slow, extremely arduous, and often highly discouraging. And yet, he foresees for the Baha'is in that country a very great future, when at no distant date they will be carried upward from the shadowed valleys of obscurity to the sunny uplands of fame, prosperity, and triumph. In the years to follow, the small but dedicated Swiss community arose to its challenges and faced its tasks with great determination and loving devotion. There was an air of enthusiasm in all the believers' endeavors. The Swiss believers set up and strengthened their institutions. They proclaimed and taught the faith to those ready to listen. The message of Baha'u'llah had reached every country on the planet, counting 5 to 6 million believers, over 180 national assemblies, and well over 12,000 active communities with local assemblies. The Universal House of Justice, which has guided the community since the passing of the beloved guardian, decided to systemize the global teaching efforts. In 2001, the Universal House of Justice launched the first of 4 successive 5-year plans. From 2001 until 2021, the Baha'is all around the world are encouraged to engage in a 4-fold process for community development for peace. Local community members complete tutor training programs to facilitate various core activities: children's classes, junior youth groups, devotional gatherings, and study circles, and subsequently engaged the wider community in development activities. The Swiss community enthusiastically responded to this call. The country was divided into 8 clusters, with the goal to launch no less than 6 intensive programs of growth by the end of the second 5-year plan, initiating an active community life in all areas of Switzerland. Today, the Swiss Baha'i community has over 1,000 Baha'is living in 200 localities. With joy, courage, firm resolution, and loving devotion, the Swiss Baha'i community will continue to strive in its efforts to share the healing message of Baha'u'llah with the waiting, receptive souls in Switzerland, always assured of the assistance of the Concourse on high.